Okay, Module 9, we will talk about profit oil and cost oil. So in this module, we will go over the main form of the government take and the contractor take. We will also learn how the contractor will recover his costs and which of the costs can be recovered. Petroleum costs, all the costs that can be recovered are normally termed as petroleum costs. Petroleum costs are recoverable through the cost recovery portion. The slice that is assigned to the cost recovery portion, that is from which the contractor has to recover his cost. And like I showed you before, if the cost is not recovered, it will be carried forward to the future years as long as possible. Cost recovery is a vital feature in the production sharing agreement. Cost recovery offers the contractor opportunity to recover cost if commercial discovery. If there is a commercial discovery and he goes for the development, then the contractor can recover all his costs, including the exploration costs that he has spent from day one to be recovered from that cost recovery portion. If there is no discovery, then obviously he lost all the money that he spent on exploration. Most of the CAPEX, the capital expenditure items, the OPEX, the operating expenditure items, and abandonment costs are considered as petroleum costs. Royalties, rentals, bonuses, and interest on loan payments are normally not considered as petroleum costs, but again, each contract is different. Some contracts may allow royalties and rentals or bonuses to be considered as petroleum costs. Some contracts don't consider them as petroleum costs. So again, it depends on contract to contract. Progressive profit oil split, as I showed you for the royalty and the taxes and the bonuses, the progressive regimes or the progressive system of taxation and royalty. Similarly, we can have progressive profit oil split. We can link it to production rates, or we can link it to cumulative production. We can link it to the payout time of the contractor. We can link it to the R factor or the IRR, the rate of return or the R factor of the contractor. Or we can have a two-dimensional link, like I showed you for the royalty and the taxation. We can link it to daily and cumulative production. We can link it to the field production levels and the R factor simultaneously, or we can link it to the production rate and the crude oil price. So we can have dimensional links, but the best is obviously to link it to the profitability of the contractor, because that profitability is inclusive of everything. It's the production cost, the production forecast, and the price of oil. All variables are accounting for the profitability. So here the cost recovery is a two-dimensional link. And again, we have linked it to the barrels of oil per day and the price of oil. So when the price of oil is $60 per barrel and the contractor is producing 10,000 barrels a day, the cost recovery will be 50%. As the price increases for the same production, 10,000 barrels a day, the cost recovery will be reducing. Why it will be reducing? Because he is making more money now, because the price is higher, so the cost recovery slice also gets higher. And because of that, the percentage reduces, because the 35% will give him the same amount of money or more than the 50% if the price is $60 or $105 per barrel. So that's what that is what is reflected in there. And then you can, as the production increases, also you reduce the cost recovery percentages, because again, when he produces more revenue is coming, so even a smaller size of the cost recovery will be enough to recover his cost from. This is the S-curve, similar to what I showed you for the royalty and taxes. You can have a S-curve for the cost recovery, for the profit oil, and or for the excess cost recovery split. All these percentages could be linked to the R factor or the IRR. So in this graph, you can see that as long as the R factor of the contractor is 1, less than 1 or 1, that means he is still recovering the cost. The the cost recovery percentage is higher, it's 50%. But once he crosses the R factor of 1, that means he has already recovered all his past costs. Only the day-to-day operating expenditure and the costs that are occurring in the current years, that is what is left to be recovered. So therefore, the cost recovery percentage goes down. And then the smallest percentage is 20% after the R factor reaches 2, and then it keeps constant from there on. Similarly, the profit oil. The profit oil is also linked to S curve. As long as the R factor of contractor is 1 or less than 1, the profit oil split is 50%. The profit oil split of the government is 50% and 50 to the contractor. Once the contractor exceeds the R factor of 1, the profit oil share of the government increases, the contractor share decreases proportionately, the same percentages.